home a lot. I go home too much, probably a couple of times a year. It's always a bit of an ordeal. I arrive always with my suitcase. I'm exhausted. I take a taxi to my parents' house. My mom's like twice as tired as me. She's been awake for days, just like, oh God, watching the flight information. And I walk in the door and she's like, oh gosh. She's like, okay, first of all, James, she has a suitcase. Okay, is that a problem? Well, we're gonna have to find somewhere to put it. I'm sure we will. And they always, both of them sort of bring me into the kitchen. They're like, can we talk to you? Before you run out to hang out with your pals, can we have a minute? Can we have a quick chat? We need you to know that we have stocked the fridge. I'm like, okay, thanks. Are you listening? We are bursting at the seams. The house can barely take the strain. We need you to eat the food. If anything, to protect the structural integrity of the house. It's so intense. I was like, oh, thanks. And I go to the fridge, and it's like one piece of prosciutto, some smoked salmon, and like a chorizo sauce. And they're like, feast. They only eat charcuterie. What age do you get? I feel like you get to a certain age, and you're like, I just want the saltiest morsels. No full meals for me. Anything I can put on a toothpick, then... Yeah, but I do feel like every time I go home, I'm 29 years old now, and every time I go home, I feel like I see where my neuroses come from. Like the older I get more perspective, I guess, and I'm like, oh God, that's my future and my past and the reason for everything. So like one of my only really neurotic habits that I have, I don't know if anyone else does this, please identify yourself. I will feel less alone. I wash my face like 10 or 11 times a day. Anyone else? Is anybody else a chronic face washer? It's not. I love to feel fresh. You'll find me after this show. Prime time for a face wash. I'll be in a public toilet. I'll use whatever soap is in there. Just please. I don't say please. That's too sad. Just begging myself to be clean. But I do love to wash my face. And so last time I went home, I thought, you know what? I'm old enough now that I don't need to edit the version of myself that I present to my parents. Because you know when your parents are like, and how are you? And you're like, everything, I am nailing life. Because you don't want them to worry. But I went home and I was like, yeah, I thought maybe my mom can shed some light on this habit and why I wash my face. Maybe she does it as well. So I was like, actually, Mom, I'm a face washer. And I don't know why I do it. It's kind of a problem. It's quite disruptive to my day, but there it is. I wash my face a shitload, who knows why. And she's like, well, it's because your face is oily and people can see the oil and they think you're a greasy girl. It's like, oh, I see. Well, that's where that comes from. I just internalized the phrase greasy girl around puberty.